A 15 industrial disasters more deadly than Deepwater Horizon. Part 1.
If you are brand new to our channel, we invite you to take a moment to subscribe. Just click on the lit red button as well as the gray bell. Why the bell? Well, it will let you know every time we post a new video.
1. Banqiao Dam failure, 171,000 dead. overskashinassociation21.blogspot.com. In August 1975 in western China, a catastrophic failure of a dam occurred during a typhoon, killing an estimated 171,000 people. The dam was built in the 1950s to produce electricity and prevent floods. Engineers designed the dam to withstand up to a 1,000-year flood. During the fateful days in early August 1975, Typhoon Nina produced floods at 1 and 2,000-year levels. The first day of the typhoon, it produced 40 inches of rain that surpassed the total yearly precipitation for the area in just one day. After days of more heavy rain, the dam finally failed on August 8. The collapse caused a wave 33 feet high, 7 miles wide, and traveled at 30 miles per hour. A total of 61 dams and additional reservoirs were obliterated because of the Banqiao Dam failure. The flood caused 5,960,000 buildings to collapse, with 26,000 people immediately killed, and an additional 145,000 dying as a result of famine and epidemics from the disaster. Source: Wikipedia.org. 2. Bhopal disaster, 2,259 to 16,000 dead. CommonDreams.org. On the night of December 2, 1984, 500,000 people were exposed to a toxic gas from the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant in Bhopal, India. The area surrounding the factory was filled with shanty towns and extreme poverty. The first government release reported 2,259 deaths. Other estimates later reported 8,000 people died within 2 weeks of the disaster, and 8,000 have since died from gas-related diseases. The cause of the disaster is unclear and remains under controversy. The government and locals contend poor management and improper maintenance caused a situation where a backflow of water entered a tank, triggering the disaster. The Union Carbide Corporation argues that the water came into the tank through an intentional act of sabotage. What is clear is that 558,125 people sustained injuries from the gas, and another 3,700 to 16,000 lost their lives. 3. Texas City disaster, 581 dead. TexasCityLibrary.org. In the port of Texas City on April 16, 1947, the deadliest industrial accident in American history occurred. The French vessel Grand Camp with 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate exploded. In one of the world's largest non-nuclear explosions, the first blast and chain reaction blasts, including a nearby oil storage facility, killed 581 people. The explosions even killed all but one of the members of the Texas City Fire Department. The explosion was caused because of the ingredients used in the manufacturing process and packaging used to store the ammonium nitrate. The ammonium nitrate was loaded onto the ship, and the heat from the climate caused a fire of the flammable substance began in the cargo hold. Firefighters tried, albeit in vain, to extinguish the fire in the cargo hold. The yellow-orange smoke created an attraction for spectators, which contributed to the deaths. 4. Nambija mine disaster, 300 dead. N.Wikipedia.org. By the 1990s, Nambija, mining settlement located in southeastern Ecuador, had a reputation as being a violent environment. The town is so remote it can only be reached after a 3-hour trip on a rough gravel road that was only built in 1986. The mountain is riddled with holes from mining, the air is damp, and filled with chemicals and toxic fumes from the mine and refining process. On May 9, 1993, a large part of the mountain at the end of the valley collapsed, and a landslide killed an estimated 300 people. 10,000 people lived in a settlement of about 1 square mile. Most of the town's houses were built right at tunnel entrances to the mine. Almost every family had a mine of their own, and mine shafts were hitting other mine shafts. Experts long warned the mountain was virtually hollow. They cautioned further mining would result in a landslide, and after several days of torrential rains the soil softened as predicted. 5. Val di Stava Dam Disaster, 268 dead. Trentotode.sci.ovh. In northern Italy above the village of Stava, the Val di Stava Dam collapsed on July 19, 1985. The collapse destroyed 8 bridges, 63 buildings, and killed 268 people. After the disaster, an investigation found poor maintenance and a small margin of operational safety. In the upper of the 2 dams, a pipe used to drain water began sagging, because of the weight of sediment making drainage less effective. Water continued to be pumped into the reservoir behind the dam, and the damaged pipe caused the pressure on the bank of the upper dam to build. Water began penetrating the bank and the soil liquefied into mud, and weakened the bank until it finally failed. The water and sediment from the upper dam flowed into the lower dam, which failed 30 seconds later. 6. Binhai Tianjin explosions 170 dead. abcnews.go.com. On the night of August 12, 2015, 2 explosions erupted at a container storage site at the port of Tianjin. The explosions caused the deaths of 173 people, 797 injuries, and 8 people reported missing. The first blast was caused by an overheated container of dry nitrocellulose. Within 30 seconds of the initial blast, a second blast of ammonium nitrate occurred. The fires caused by the initial explosions lasted throughout the weekend, resulting in an additional 8 explosions. The explosions caused an enormous crater at the blast site. A vast quantity of container stacks were thrown and toppled by the blasts. Thousands of cars from Toyota, Renault, Volkswagen, Kia, and Hyundai were irreparably damaged. 7,533 containers, 12,428 cars, and 304 buildings were either destroyed or damaged. Aside from the death and destruction, the interruption to global supply chains cost $9 billion. 7. Piper Alpha disaster 167 dead. dailymail.co.uk. On July 6, 1988, a North Sea oil production platform named Piper Alpha was destroyed in an explosion. The disaster caused the deaths of 167 people, including 2 members of a rescue vessel. It took 3 weeks to extinguish the fire despite 80 miles per hour winds and 70-foot waves. A part of the rig that contained the galley on which 100 victims sought refuge was later found on the seabed in late 1988, where 87 bodies were also discovered. On the day of the explosion, one of the 2 pumps had its pressure safety valve removed for maintenance. A hand-tightened disc was put in its place, and as the day shift ended, the engineer failed to notify the night shift custodian of the change. When the pump was switched on, the hand-tightened disc could not withstand the pressure, and within only minutes, an explosion occurred. 8. Sayano-Sushenskaya power plant disaster 75 dead. Photovide.com. The Sayano-Sushenskaya power plant located near Sayano-Sushenskaya, Russia on the Enshede River was the 6th largest hydroelectric power station in the world and the largest in Russia. At 8:13 a.m. on August 17, 2009, Turbine 2 in the power plant violently broke apart. The engine room and turbine hall flooded, and when the ceiling of the turbine hall collapsed, 9 out of 10 turbines were destroyed or damaged. The entire output of electricity from the plant ceased, and the disaster left 75 people dead. Turbine 2 had been vibrating for a considerable amount of time, and shortly before the failure, its output power had been reduced. The turbine cover broke open after several bolts failed, and the spinning turbine destroyed the rotor and other parts of the generator. Pressurized water began to flood and the emergency doors took an inadequate time to close. It is speculated that automated self-closing locking doors could have stopped the flood and saved the plant from destruction and loss of lives.